You have given me a great honor and solemn responsibility. And together, we are going to win on November 6th.
Willard Mitt Romney, the soon-to-be Republican nominee for President of the United States. Exactly who is he? And just what does he stand for?
I believe that abortion should be safe and legal in this country.
We need people who recognize that pro-life is the way to go.
People often say, well, who is the real Mitt Romney? Is it the liberal, the moderate, the conservative?
I was a severely conservative Republican governor.
It's really all of those things.
Tonight, the making of a presidential candidate, his rise through business and politics.
We took on an entrenched machine and we won.
What forces have shaped the man? To try and win the election, Romney and his campaign position their candidate as a moderate. A logical tactic, since Massachusetts is a liberal and strongly Democratic state. One advisor Romney seeks out is Rich Tafel, head of the Log Cabin Republicans, which advocates for gay rights. His advice is simple.
For you to win gay support, you'll have to be better than Ted Kennedy to win that race. And so he said, what would it take for me to be better than Ted Kennedy?
In August 1994, Romney gives an interview to Bay Windows, Boston's gay newspaper, promising that he would be better than Kennedy on gay rights.
Well, I think we ought to have health care for everyone.
On other issues, gun control, abortion, health care, Romney takes similar moderate to liberal positions.
He was pro-choice, as everyone knows, in the 94 race.
I believe that since Roe v. Wade has been the law for 20 years, that we should sustain and support it.
So there weren't any discussions about positioning him politically. Those were his views.
He even declares in a debate with Senator Kennedy that he was not a Reagan Republican or even a Republican at all in the 80s.
Look, I was an independent during the time of Reagan-Bush. I'm not trying to return to Reagan-Bush.
On Election Day, Kennedy defeats the moderate Romney by double digits. But it was actually the slimmest margin Kennedy ever had. To political observers, young Mitt Romney is a politician on the rise. To those he's worked with, Romney doesn't come across as your typical politician. Rich Tafel remembers a call from a friend who worked for Romney's campaign, a friend dying of AIDS. He said Romney had called him to wish him well.
When you work in politics, it's very transactional. So people kind of work for you for the minute, and then they're kind of gone. So that this former candidate would call a person, that stuck an impression in my head.
Those who know him say Romney's quiet decency remains to this day. He wins his first political office, the same one his father won 40 years earlier, a governorship.
We took on an entrenched machine and we won. I, Mitt Romney, do solemnly
He soon becomes known in Boston media as Governor No, relying mostly on the veto, using it more than 800 times in 4 years, with almost all of them overridden by the huge Democratic majority in the state legislature. Meanwhile, some state legislators sense that his heart and head may be elsewhere.
There is not the slightest evidence that he ever intended to run for a second term. It seemed from very early on in his tenure that the governor's office was just a way station on the way to a presidential campaign.
Early in his term, Romney begins a rightward move on social issues, opposing abortion rights and gay marriage. On November 18, 2003, the Massachusetts Supreme Court legalizes same-sex marriage, the first state to do so. Romney opts to crusade against the change, even testifying before the U.S. Senate.
I believe we should preserve that which has endured over thousands of years.
My sense was he looked at his future in Massachusetts and said, I can't go too much further here. If I want to run for national office, I'm going to have a real problem as being from Massachusetts, being a Mormon, in the Republican Party that's very evangelical, and I need to pivot on some of these social issues.
No longer positioning himself as a moderate Massachusetts Republican, Romney announces what has become obvious: he will not run for re-election.
A year from now, it'll be time for me to pass that privilege to someone else. I will not be a candidate for re-election.